Welcome back, everyone. We're back again. It's another episode of the established 1982 podcast, the Geek Culture Podcast, hosted by responsibly irresponsible adults that have loved video games, comic books, movies, and TV ever since 1982. I'm your boy, Wally Analog, and we're back again. Of course, I'm with my man, Mr. 1%.
Yes, sir.
Rolls Royce Elite.
It's Gia.
It's Gia back in the building. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. COVID living.
It has been a minute. So let's just kind of go over what's been going on.
Yeah.
Everybody knows pandemic. You hate to keep talking about the pandemic, right? But it's a real thing. It's affecting people's lives.
Yeah.
Even when we first was hit with it, we would talk about it, how we were, foregoing haircuts, at least some of us. But we didn't envision it would be this long. And for a number of reasons, whether it be entitlement by American people and stubbornness, we're still kind of in the situation. So it's affected us one way or another. And then I was moving into a new home. So, I don't know if we haven't been on video enough. I got my own little area now where I can record in peace.
That's good.
So we were in between homes and stuff like that. And now we are officially educators. I'm trying to, you as well, sir, you're trying to teach children at home and do their homework.
Right.
And I'm the guy at home that is with a fourth grader and a first grader, and so I'm trying to work and I'm trying to educate and teach. And Lord knows I'm not a teacher, and helping them with their homework and fixing their meals and that type of stuff. So that being said, but at the same time, there's a measure of rededication that I am actively endeavoring to do to this podcast, as we both are. So that being said, we apologize for the long hiatus. It's not going to be a habit. We're back in the building, and it's going to be hopefully a better experience. Even we got some things that we're planning to do, and so hopefully everybody will be cool with it. Yeah, thank you to everybody who's been riding with us. We've gotten patrons, new patrons, which we will shout out at the end of this list that I will now go through. Our lovely patrons out on Patreon. EST 1982 podcast. That is patreon.com EST 1982 podcast. If you'd like to pledge as little as $1 to this podcast to ensure that we can make it through whatever's going on in these crazy streets, to be able to, maintain a measure of consistency in bringing you this podcast. And I'm beginning with my lovely wife, Carrie Ledbetter. Thank you so much for your support. We got Jamal Whiteman representing that Philly. Thank you. He's been riding from the beginning. He's still riding. He just sent me a text yesterday about how boo-boo the New Mutant. He says boo-boo.
He actually went to the theater to watch it?
Yeah, he went. Brave man.
Brave.
Oh, Raphael M. Jordan, thank you so much for your support. Terrence, don't call me Richie Rich, for your support. The Professor, thank you so much. We got Billy, both from Q's Roots to the Q's. Thank you so much. We got Brandon King, aka Enigmatic 52. That Madden came out, I believe on the 28th is what I saw here. It came out, and we have yet to do our annual Madden/chicken episode. Talking about that Madden, I got to get Brandon King on the horn. Thank you so much for your support. We got John Ford, aka Johnny Prototype. Thank you for your support. Tori Moore out in the ATL. We got Jim Stumbaugh. Thank you for your support. Tuisha Rogers Simpson. Thank you so much for your support. And we've got our newest patrons on the list. There are 3 of them. Only Stupid Mike is a patron. Thank you so much, sir, for your support. We got Willis Kelly. Willis Kelly was actually featured on one of our many episodes dedicated to the Watchmen podcast. He was featured. Another gentleman that I call a friend, and Jason Terrain. And they did a wonderful job. Willis Kelly, thank you for supporting. And last but not least, Jason, our most recent addition to our patron list out on patreon.com/EC1982 podcast. Thank you, Jason R. Latham, and thank you to each and every one of you for supporting the podcast with both your time and your financial effort. So, that being said, man, what Mr. 1%? It's been a little bit. This podcast is one that is, we kind of hear it sounds upbeat as we're coming into it, but it was one of those podcasts that we felt like we had to do. We're doing it with a heavy heart. So how you been feeling, man, as it relates to just everything, everything.
Man, it's a balancing act, man. You're trying to do your work, splitting the duties of, helping the kids with the virtual stuff. Like both of my kids are doing their classes virtually.
Yes.
So thankful for that, but it's a frustration at the same time. 2020 has just been that year where, we're seeing, two big things going on, the pandemic, and then, just the issues with systemic racism. Mm-hmm. And it's just been, especially after this week, it's been a tough week. Mm-hmm. So yeah, with the Jacob Blake shooting, and then with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, it's just unreal. I'm doing okay because, man, we'll get into this. Chadwick Boseman just I don't know. I guess this year has been tough, man. Even with Kobe passing and Chadwick Boseman, it's just been a rough year. But I think the goal is to try to just look at their lives and just get all of the positive things that these people have done and the legacy that they've left. So yeah, to answer your question, man, I'm hanging in there, just staying prayerful and just trying to just keep a positive attitude about things, even though everything just seems negative and grim right now. It's important to just stay positive.
Yeah.
As much as we can. So
I think we all are, man. I mean, this, like I said, with everything that's going on, and then you compound it with, these untimely deaths of people in our community, right?
Yeah.
Towers in the community.
Right.
Whether it be whether it be in basketball, as is the case with Kobe and them.
Right.
Both, and all the craziness that we've been going through. At some point or another, it seems to always touch our community. That community being, the geek culture community.
Right.
Chadwick Boseman, bro. That hit. One of the homies sent the text. And the first thing I said was lies, right? Like, I'm what? No. But then I didn't even finish the text before I said, man, are you serious? And of course, you go out on the web on your phone immediately.
Verify. You got to double check and triple check
because people have put stuff out there, man. The hoaxes, people aren't dead, and I wasn't ready to believe that. You never are. You're never ready for that. I did the same with Kobe. I was like, man, get out of here, right? Get out of here.
Right.
So when it touches our realm, our area, the one, our culture, this culture that we hold dear and have held dear for a very long time, man. To talk about it. Now I realized, we had to talk about it, and I wanted to. This is that absolute necessity. And we've been gone for so long, and we felt like, this is the time to do it. We need time then to, honor what was a brilliant actor. Let's state that first, right? This dude, you're gonna get notoriety for being the star in a movie that made over $2, right? You're gonna do that.
Right.
What's lost is the roles that he played of trailblazing people.
Right.
Take mess roles, but we just so happen to be blessed with his appearance in a property that we love, because as 40 something Black geek husband fathers, who grew up in an era where all your superheroes were white. Not that we noticed that, not that that was a thing, because we just felt like, it was all about the suit and the uniform and what they stood for and the properties and the books and the cartoons and stuff like that.
Right.
We didn't think about that. As you get older, even as a child, a teenager, you kind of see, it's like, they don't make a lot of them that look like us.
Right.
And so having that happen and see how successful it was, the validation of that felt extremely satisfying and really, really good.
Yeah.
And Chadwick Boseman, after that, and I know he's played Thurgood Marshall, he's played
Jackie
Robinson, he's played James Brown, and you know what I'm saying? Hans in Black entertainment, in Black life. He was still going to end up being T'Challa for the rest of my life, regardless. It's like, that's what it was going to be for me, fair or unfair, because of my love for the property.
Right.
And so when we got the news, it was just like, bro, like, come on, man.
Yeah, that it hurt. It still hurts. I'm still the shock has left. I would say all weekend I was just in shock. Like, it just can't be true.
Right.
I've cried about it. That interview that he had on Sway in the Morning, I remember it to this day. Before Black Panther came out,
Yeah.
and they were just talking about the success of the film, and he just talked about he didn't even realize how impactful the film would be to the culture. And then to take it a step further, he really got a taste of how impactful it is when he talked to these two kids that had childhood cancer, and they basically told him that they wanted to hold on to life until they saw this film. And he got choked up. Naturally, everybody kind of got choked up, but he got choked up. Ended up leaving, but he just, to hear that he had colon cancer and had been struggling with it for 4 years, and he had it when he was filming Black Panther, that interview hits home even harder. He knew he had cancer, talked to these two kids, and just said, hey, I got to roll up my sleeves and work even harder. Like he said, I got to go to the gym. I got to learn the lines. I got to make sure that I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that this film, I deliver. That's a warrior to me, man. And if I just pray that all of America sees that, the strength of a person, a strength of a Black man, the strength of somebody that just has a love for God as well. Because that was one thing that kept coming up, just watching different speeches that he made and how he talked to people, just always humble and always was grateful for the gifts that he was given by God. So I though it's really sad to see him go, um, we just have to keep honoring his legacy, man. And I encourage everybody, a way to deal with this is to just try to look at his example and then just look at yourself and go, like, what are the talents that are, we're blessed with? What are the passions that that are, burning in our chest, and working toward those, and just keep his legacy alive. Um, Same with Kobe. It's funny. 2020 is just that year where it's like we've had these enormous icons in Black culture, pop culture, American culture that have passed away, and they've left a legacy for people to pay attention to. And I think that's important. I think this pandemic has allowed those that want to see. This pandemic has, awakened people, and has allowed us to be introspective, and look at things from a deeper lens. It's not just surface, Facebook chatter. So I don't know, man. Just I know I was long winded, but man, that's how I'm feeling about Chadwick Boseman, man. Like,
You made the point, man. He did all of that. And you mentioned he was filming during Black Panther. Bro, that dude, he had been diagnosed and was shooting Civil War in 2016.
right.
And countless movies after that.
Right.
Still, they think about this now. Black Panther was slated for 2017.
Right.
They got the deal with Sony to borrow Spider-Man, brought him in, pushed him back. A dude they knew had cancer. They pushed him off a year. And the dude still said, okay, I'll wait a year with a terminal illness.
And you're talking about the filming of Black Panther.
Yes.
Pushing Black Panther off so they can
Panther back so they can get Spider-Man.
Yes.
He was supposed to have shot that. You would think that, and I don't know how much Disney or Marvel knew at that point.
They didn't.
Okay.
They didn't. He had an inner circle that did not.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Anything. So this dude got pushed off and was still like, all right, not really knowing what the state of affairs would be a full year later.
Right.
And the dude still pushed through, with Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame. That dude he was an integral part in finishing off the Infinity Saga.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's a testament, man. No excuses. If you were talking about talents, right? You got a talent, you're good at something, and you can make a difference, right? In whatever way that is, even if, whatever circles you're in, big or small.
Right.
Bro, we don't have no excuses for being lazy or any of that, man.
I'll take it a step further, not to be morbid. We don't know how much time we got.
That's correct.
And that's that's something that is important. That's why we should live every day to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, like you mentioned, when I was growing up, I was on a constant diet of Star Wars and Superman. So
yes.
Superman to me, Christopher Reeve is my Superman.
Yes, sir.
Always will be.
Yes, sir.
Henry Cavill's great, but Christopher Reeve is my Superman. That's
That's
when
right.
I got into comics. That's why I started reading, just loving all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
So, and when you're a kid, you don't think about race. So it's like Christopher Reeve's my guy. No, I'm not thinking about like representation. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just
Ah,
looking at that. I'm just looking at that Superman symbol
yeah,
and what it stands for, right?
yeah.
So, you know, when they announced Black Panther, I immediately got chills. I was like, this can't be. Like, this is too good to be true, right?
Right.
And then they started coming out with like they said we're gonna do a Black Panther, and then they didn't announce who it was gonna be. And then they said Chadwick Boseman. I was like, okay,
Do this.
good choice. And they even mentioned in a tribute, they did a tribute, I think yesterday,
Yeah, ABC.
and they were talking about they gave him a second look. I'm curious who was on the list, but they gave him a second look after he did 42, after he did Jackie Robinson, because just the way he portrayed Jackie Robinson on screen, he just had that charisma, that um, just that essence that they wanted King T'Challa to have, you know. So I really got excited about that. And then of course everybody around him just made that film complete. And
Mhm.
man, I tell you, man, I sat in that theater and cried a couple of times because um, that kid in me was there again. That giddy, like I can't believe. Again, Black Panther doesn't have the power set as Superman, but
Who does?
right, but everybody, myself and the world, or sorry, myself and Black culture said that's our Superman.
That's our dude. Yeah.
And then for all the kids, like my son and my daughter, like that's something for them to enjoy,
Yeah.
and that ushered in, I hope, a wave of more heroes of color um, that will grace the screen. So it's looking back on his career in that stretch. He played Jackie Robinson, James Brown. It was almost like he was like God chose him to play these roles.
Meaningful.
And also, he picked those roles. It seems like you could see the meticulousness of him picking those particular roles, and it leading up to T'Challa, you know. Um, and you don't see that a lot. A lot of actors, like, they have some hits or misses, but like with him, it's like I can't say there's a miss. I mean, maybe Gods of Egypt, but I mean, we're not trying to criticize movies, but you know,
I mean,
it's
he was on a Denzel trajectory. Denzel don't do no mess,
for sure.
right?
Right.
And that was a he was a big influence on his career. In a lot of ways, both professional.
Financially and yeah, right, right.
So, and if you don't know the story, you can find it. But um, man, it's a talent that there's no telling what we would have gotten. And all those roles you named, although they were icons, the the level of versatility you got to have to be able to play all these characters convincingly. You going from uh, uh, nonfiction to science fiction to 21 Bridge. I mean, he's doing all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And a lot of people get worried the first time they step onto the sounds, the set of a superhero or comic book movie, for fear of being typecast as whoever that person is. Now, I've noticed lately that doesn't seem to be a handicap as much anymore. People have come out of the Marvel universe or wherever, DC or whatever, have played Batman and been all right.
Yeah.
But there was a stigma at first. We don't fool with that. But he had built up a
because
catalog.
the industry overall put a
Yes,
stigma on it.
right.
Now that those films are making money, of course
Yes,
the stigma's gone.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
We can act in these, and it's
right,
probably in your best interest financially if
right.
you're picked. Um, you mentioned your children, man, and this is coming from the angle of an audience that we endeavor to reach and that we endeavor to relate to, and that would be older parent geeks um, of color, but not necessarily exclusively. But ours was a different situation. It wasn't cool to be a nerd, a geek, collecting action figures and comics and playing video games back when we were doing it. And as children, it wasn't cool before. So now you add that on top of being black, you really catch it in your community,
Right.
right? You might get away with it a little bit better in the white community. It's okay. A little bit, a little more. And they still got beat up in their community, I'm sure. But it was real bad. It was real bad. And so you mentioned your children. They don't really know what it is to not have somebody that looks like them in a legit production or in a comic book or on television
It's
even.
organic to them now, which is I'm
Normal,
thankful
it's
for.
normal. These children were born into an Obama presidency.
Right.
I'm saying, and so they black to them is like, oh, this is normal. And so as a guy came up when that wasn't normal, it was a joy to see my son and my daughter that Halloween go as Black Panther and Shuri.
Right.
Like they got the costume. They wanted to be, because my daughter saw it and thought Shuri was the greatest thing ever.
Correct.
She's smart and she's dope and she could put the gauntlets on and go to work too.
Right.
And she saw a non-colonized, independent Black nation whose military was 100% women, Black women. So that was empowering. We ain't seen nothing like that growing up, man. Not that you mentioned, not that we were looking for it particularly, but for our kids to have seen that, man, it did so much for me. And I would like to hear from a number of those uh, other older men of color that are fathers and that are husbands and understood what it was like to go to the theater and not necessarily have that, or go to your comic book store or your convenience store or wherever you picked up your comics, to not really see that. Now, I was ashamed to admit that I didn't know much about Black Panther. I knew who he was. I didn't know any of his comic book lore really
Well,
before this movie.
they weren't really putting it out as much. There was a couple of
So,
runs, like Reginald Hudlin put out a run.
mhm,
There was I want to say there was a Christopher Priest run, or maybe they're the same. I can't remember, but anyway, there was a couple of runs, early 2000s, but yeah, it wasn't a commonplace thing. It was always Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, X-Men. That's what was getting pushed and pushed out to the stores.
yeah, in the Marvel community, it was X-Men, X-Men, X-Men.
Right, because you had the arcade games, you had,
Because the Avengers weren't even hot when we were kids.
no,
It was X-Men.
right,
Point blank, period. Like it was X-Men. People knew the Avengers,
yes,
but it was that X-Men game arcade, the 6-player joint.
right,
Uh, then the other little thing, the Avengers, that the Dead of East one, with Vision, that didn't get play. So it was all about the X-Men.
right,
And so, but you still didn't see any Black folks. Then you didn't see it.
right,
But now it's like, now those movies, they shoehorn in Black Panther into anything they can now. boy got merch and you can get stuff, and it it is rewarding to see little white children put on the Black Panther mask, you know, because it's something
Think about it. Like, if it goes back to what I was saying, when I was a little kid,
that didn't matter.
it didn't
It was
matter.
in the person.
Right.
That's the goal, right?
Right.
Goal. Chadwick Boseman, man, and he played the dude so well, man. A lot of people say he was overshadowed by Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, and there's something to be said for that. But that's
Killmonger was the focus of the film.
But that's going to happen whenever you have
right
a well-written antagonist.
Correct.
I mean, Heath Ledger for any other reference to that. I mean, really,
right.
Bale was an afterthought in that movie.
Yeah, he was Heath Ledger in Black Panther. Like, he made that film. If there wasn't, and that doesn't take anything away from Chadwick Boseman.
No, absolutely.
But if there wasn't Michael B. Jordan in there, like, I don't think that the film would still hit the same way, but it really hit with him in it.
Yeah.
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 And in terms of his portrayal of King T'Challa, like, I feel like the groundwork was laid in Civil War when his father was killed and by I guess Zemo.
Yes.
And then he was like, basically hell bent on catching him.
Yes.
And killing him.
Yes.
But when he gets to the end, he says, I forgot what the line was, but he's like, revenge is not. He basically
not worth it. It's
using his head and going, I am not going to sink to the level of killing you.
Right.
There, and that just showed how honorable King T'Challa was and how honorable his just that characterization was. And I love that. He didn't punch him out. He actually showed a little bit of mercy and grace. Like, and he carried that into Black Panther with Killmonger, because he's like, this is my brother. Like, this is he's part of my family. And I
tried to save him. That dude chose to die.
Right.
He could have been saved. He could have taken him right on back to Shuri and passed him up, or whatever. But and that was the plan.
Right. So
in many ways he matched his character. He matched his real life character to the character that we saw. And that resonated, man. That resonated. Like, so, this talk of recasting.
I'm a little frustrated at people.
It's
like it's not appropriate.
Right, but the reason I went there is because of everything that you were saying about what he brought to the character.
Correct.
His actual true character now, you know what I mean? And so it wouldn't even feel right if somebody else played him. I'm not on this, oh my God, who's gonna be Black Panther? I'm not on that like everybody else is.
Right.
They can do whatever they want to do these days. I mean, you saw what they did with the Avengers game that's coming out. They just put them dudes' faces on the thing and they kept it right. They can do what they want to do.
Right.
That's as easy as getting an app in there and doing that. When Black Panther has a mask on when he's doing the work, they can do what they want to do. But when it comes down to him, as you said, portraying the king in those scenes where a king's qualities and character are on display, facial interaction, one-on-one interaction with, emotions that need to be conveyed, from somebody's visage. You know what I'm saying? That's where I think, not to say that there's no one else that could do it, but Like I don't want to see anybody else playing Iron Man.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's just like he's one of those now.
Yeah, and
He
that's what makes
he had already become that before his untimely passing.
right,
That dude is Black Panther.
right.
Now, point blank, you might be able to swap out some other folk, War Machine or whatever you want to do. Some people cannot be swapped out.
Right.
And it was and not because of his physical prowess or anything like that, but what he brought to the character and all the way. And now come to find out all the hard work that he did under certain, under these circumstances to make sure that we got the best representation of T'Challa and Black Panther that we could possibly get. I don't know, it's a hard hill to climb for somebody else, bro. Hard hill to climb, and I'm gonna miss that dude. I'm gonna miss that dude because the other roles he played were superb. I saw the other movies. I hadn't seen 21 Bridges, honestly. But what I saw of it and the premise of it,
it was good. It was good. It was a solid movie.
I mean, we were losing, a thespian, man.
There was one. Not to cut you off. There was. I saw this interview with him. I think it was like The Shop or something. The one with LeBron.
Yeah.
They were kind of paying tribute to him by putting that episode out.
Right.
And he basically said, he was asked a question about the roles that he picked and picking T'Challa and like, the heavy hitters like, Jackie Robinson and James Brown and that kind of thing. And he basically said, as an actor, you got to think of each character as fine wine. And that fine wine is getting poured into your glass, meaning he's the vessel, he's the glass.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, when he's taking on James Brown, he's researching, he's studying James Brown, and that's getting poured into him. And I wanted to bring that up because he defined who King T'Challa was.
Yes.
Black Panther is just as dynamic with the suit on as with the suit off.
Yeah.
Like those scenes where he's interacting with Shuri and there's like humor.
Yes.
And he's talking with Nakia and just talking to her about being a king and the thing, like, getting advice from a friend on what to do, how to lead a country, and even down to the bonus scene where you see him at the UN basically saying, the foolish build saying and the wise build bridges.
Yeah.
I probably have that backwards, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's heavy, especially in the time that we're living in now, where we're building a lot of barriers.
Yeah, that wasn't that was a planned and scripted line there.
Correct. So, man, we lost a good one, man. And he's not lost, man. If we can keep his spirit going, man. It's tough, man. You watch Black Panther now, and it's a little twinge of sadness, huh?
Yeah. I purposely not watched it.
See, I want to see. The thing is, it's important for us to rewatch it. Like it's fine wine, man, and it's every time I pull Black Panther out, man, I still feel like that kid, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope when I watch it again, I'm gonna be a little sad, but man, just give the dude his flowers, man.
Yeah, man.
And I'm glad he got his flowers while he was here.
Yeah.
I've seen videos where people are speaking to the poster, and it hits you right here, man, because you see that kid that, like, as soon as he comes out from the curtain, that kid's looking at him like,
no.
Like if I saw Christopher Reeve when I was 5 years old, I would lose, like, that's Superman. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he's Black Panther, man. He's King
Yeah.
T'Challa, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he means a lot, man. In a little time, in that role to, guys our age and exactly, what it meant and what he
Be
ushered
forgotten,
in.
man. He won't be forgotten. He's
No.
gonna keep getting, he's gonna be brought up.
Yeah.
Like geek culture has definitely embraced him for sure.
Right. It's a better place because of him now, man.
Yeah,
It's a better place. It's a better place.
for
So,
sure.
yeah. So, man, R.I.P. Wakanda forever and all of that, man. Still trying to process it, man. Still trying to process it. Yeah, I wasn't even trying to tell my kids yet. So
Yeah, I haven't either.
my daughter had a little crush on him, so
Okay. Wow.
there's that.
Right.
And then of course my son is Black Panther as far as he's concerned. So, but those of you listening, watching, however you're consuming the podcast, um, and we would genuinely like to hear, what that role meant for you. Like I said, I know there are a number of those who are patrons that are in our category, right? They're in our age group and they're family men, and they have to balance their responsible and husband time with their geek culture time, and so this is in your wheelhouse, and this is particularly
And women.
tough. Let us know what you think, man. What I would like to hear some stories about, what Black Panther, but particularly Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther, meant to you. I know it meant a lot to the community. A lot of people just went to see the movie because it was black stuff, but I'm talking about deeper, our, deep rooted love for this game, right? This culture, this geek culture thing, and this superhero and comic book thing. So share your thoughts with us, man. Share your thoughts with us. We're out here on the group. You can hit us up on the website, EST1982podcast.com. Um, and again, man, just let us know. Let us know what you're feeling. And then, we want to know how you're doing too. You know, just let us know how you're doing. Um, we're here to listen. We want to hear from those who've been riding with us, and from anybody else that want to ride. Jump on, jump on. We're here. Um, we rededicating again, and we want for there to be a measure of engagement, true, real engagement, and conversations one-on-one with the crew.
And
We love.
not to cut you off, but man, we want to be that resource for you.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
um,
right.
we want to bring you the news. We want to give the opinions. We want to share your opinions.
That's
We
right.
want, you know, we're trying to figure that out.
Yeah. And so, we're imploring that you help us. We value everything that you feel, all your opinions, your thoughts, your words. We may or may not agree on a lot of stuff, but that's what makes it that much more intriguing and interesting. So, we want to hear. We want this to be a fan driven podcast, one that the fans feel like they're this production, part of our conversation. So, just let us know how you feel, and then we will bring up anything you feel is relevant, to the culture, because we hear you, especially those of us who've been riding with us from the beginning. Those of you that are patrons and believe in our product enough to devote your time and your money. So, man, all I can say is thanks, man. And just tell us what you think about this particular podcast too. This particular episode, um, for our boy Chadwick. So,
we love you, Chadwick.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's hope we don't lose anymore, man. This 2020 suck. You know what I'm saying? It's bad enough we can't go to no movies. Can't, you know. So yeah. So let's know how you feel, man. Hit us up. Again, 1982podcast.com is the website. Patreon.com/EST1982 podcast if you want to pledge your financial support to this podcast. And as per usual, until next time, people, we will holler at you.